5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, Aaron, we're ready when you are.
All right, thank you.
Once I finish work, I usually meet with the general manager in the afternoon, go over any outstanding topics or concerns that I have on any issues that are pending, do some little additional research, go home, walk my dog, relax a little bit, and come back in the evening for the Selectmen's meeting starting at 7 o'clock. People are going to come and discuss issues with us. We have those appointments usually at the beginning of the meeting. Also, if we as a licensing board, if we have any public hearings we have to have, like on issuing a liquor license or anything like that, they're usually typically at the beginning of the meeting. Then we go into what I call opening the mail, correspondence and different information that we receive, and whether we need to take any action on those or simply file them because they're nothing more than information. Then we listen to any report from the general manager and updates he might have for us on events that he's been responsible for and are happening in town. And then each selectman will bring up their own agenda, things that are on their mind, or they think the board should be looking at in the future. Mother's first cousin was Ed Muskie, who was senator from Maine. Became a vice presidential candidate, became shortly, for a short time, a presidential candidate, was Secretary of State at the end of Jimmy Carter's administration. And when he was in the Senate, he would send back to Maine a document that they called Letters to Maine, and it was all about what was going on in Washington, what his positions were. And we used to get a copy of that, and I would review that with my father, go over things. And then in high school, I was in an American history class, and the teacher said a town meeting was coming up in Norwood and wanted somebody to go and attend the meeting and come back and report what it was all about to the class. So I somehow raised my hand and went. And I went back to the class and I reported that it was a bunch of grown-ups standing around screaming at each other. And I haven't missed a town meeting since. Pretty much the same. My son Bill served on the school committee for some time. My son Brian, just this past spring, was elected to the Board of Selectmen in the town of Uxbridge. And my son James, who is residing down in Nashville, is now seriously contemplating a run for city council down there. So it's in the blood. 6 children, all grown adults. I mentioned a few of them. We have 16 grandchildren, wonderful grandchildren. Thank God everyone's healthy and doing well. 2 of them are currently serving in the Marines. Josh is just finishing up his first tour, 4-year tour. And Colin is just now in basic training, and we'll be going on a special training in a few weeks, so we're very proud of them. Well, my father, yeah, I think that's a standard answer, but it's true. He was a very hard worker, had his own small local businesses, which I eventually took over from him. And just the way he was always about family and yet concentrating on his work responsibilities and being a success, so he was definitely played a big role. It was a 1961 Cadillac Fleetwood. My father sent me down to Norwood Cadillac that used to be on Central Street, and he sent me down to make a deal with old Carl Johnson, who owned the dealership himself, and he sold me a 1961 Cadillac Fleetwood. Afterwards, as I grew older, I think my father probably arranged all that, but he made me go down and negotiate and make that deal and buy that car, although I think that was already prearranged, that Carl was going to lead me to that car.
Learning experience.
Yes. Walking my dog, Wilson. He's my 4-legged best friend, and we spend a lot of time together, like I say, 4 times a day. We go out 5 in the morning, 11:30 in the afternoon, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then in the evening, depending on when I have a meeting or not. And we just like to go out, and it's nice and quiet, and he's a golden retriever. He's 8 years old. He's peaceful as can be, so he's not even on a leash. We just walk, and we both have a good time. That's probably when I escape and have my downtime. To care about people around you, to always be responsible, maybe, think about being part of something bigger than yourself, and enjoy life.